Breaking news. Britain has just suffered a historic rupture with one of its most vital Middle Eastern partners. This didn't happen through military conflict or economic punishment, but through a single decision that triggered a chain reaction no one saw coming. There were no advance warnings, no diplomatic missions, no quiet negotiations behind closed doors. Instead, Israel abruptly closed its doors to the entire British government. Ministers, officials, envoys, every single one denied entry, without exception. If this sounds like political drama, understand this. The consequences go far beyond headlines. What unfolds next affects national security, economic stability, and Britain's global credibility. This is not symbolic posturing. It is a live security emergency. Just 4 days ago, Prime Minister Keir Starmer took 2 actions that effectively shattered a partnership built over 75 years. First, his government backed international arrest warrants targeting Israeli leadership. Then came a sweeping arms embargo covering not only offensive weapons, but also defensive systems used to intercept rockets aimed at civilians. What made matters worse was not only what he did, but what he failed to do. He did not consult senior officials. Britain's UN ambassador, Dame Barbara Woodward, discovered the decision through an Israeli diplomatic complaint rather than from London. That same night, she resigned. The Foreign Office was blindsided. Intelligence agencies had no advance notice. Even Foreign Secretary David Lammy was unaware until reality hit midair. While flying to Tel Aviv for pre-scheduled talks, Israeli air traffic control suddenly withdrew landing permission as his plane crossed the Mediterranean. The aircraft was forced to turn back. Flight tracking platforms recorded the reversal in real time. A G7 foreign minister denied entry while airborne, an incident diplomats around the world described as unprecedented humiliation. Later that evening, at 9 p.m. Jerusalem time, Benjamin Netanyahu addressed the press with his security cabinet standing behind him. His statement was short and unmistakable. A country that abandons an ally during its moment of danger should not expect loyalty in return. Within 6 hours, Israel halted all major intelligence cooperation with the UK, programs worth billions, built over decades. And this is what that means for Britain. Over the past 3 years alone, Israeli intelligence reportedly disrupted 17 terror plots targeting British soil. That safeguard no longer exists. Israeli cyber units that monitored Britain's power grids, water supply, and financial systems have withdrawn support. Mossad now classifies British institutions as security liabilities. Israeli officials privately insist the rupture is permanent. Real lives have already depended on this cooperation. In 2021, Israeli intelligence helped prevent the kidnapping of a British child. That level of protection is now gone. Former MI6 chief Sir Alex Younger called the move the gravest foreign policy failure since the Suez Crisis. Former NATO Secretary General Lord Robertson warned Britain has forfeited its most valuable intelligence relationship in the world's most volatile region. These warnings do not come from politicians. They come from architects of Britain's security framework. The fallout extends well beyond Israel. Saudi Arabia and the UAE, key Abraham Accords partners, quietly support Israel's position. Within Gulf meetings, officials question whether British security assurances hold any weight. Jordan raises similar concerns. Arab diplomats say decades of relationship building were undone in a single news cycle. Britain now faces distrust from both Israel and Arab states, isolated on 2 fronts in a strategically vital region. Markets responded instantly. The pound weakened against the shekel. £30 billion in trade faces review. British tech firms were removed from Israeli innovation projects overnight. Online, Britain betrays allies, trends globally. Within the UK, anxiety spreads. Jewish communities openly ask, if Israeli intelligence no longer protects us, who will? Inside Downing Street, crisis replaces control. During a Cobra meeting, Defense Secretary John Healey reportedly called the move strategically disastrous. Home Secretary Yvette Cooper warned colleagues, "We have made Britain a target without adequate protection." Then came a leak that escalated everything. MI5 threat assessments indicate Iranian-backed proxy groups are already probing vulnerabilities created by the intelligence freeze. Planned operations are reportedly exploiting Britain's new blind spots. British lives may now be at risk because a decision sold as moral leadership created strategic exposure. Politically, the impact is immediate. Rishi Sunak positions himself as the alternative, arguing Britain must stand with democratic allies or face isolation. Polls shift sharply, Conservatives surge past 50%, while Labour collapses into the teens. National security becomes Labour's deepest liability. Washington is watching closely and with anger. The CIA relies on UK-Israel intelligence cooperation to track threats across Europe, North Africa, and the Mediterranean. That network is now fractured. A senior U.S. intelligence official reportedly stated, if forced to choose between London and Jerusalem, the decision is already made. Former U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo added, Britain is choosing irrelevance over influence. NATO is uneasy. France questions Britain's reliability. Poland privately asks whether UK security guarantees can still be trusted. Confidence is eroding fast. The economic damage is severe. Israeli venture capital freezes British investments. £4 billion in tech partnerships shift to US and European firms. London's reputation as a hub for Israeli innovation collapses. Cancer research, pharmaceutical trials, and defense programs are disrupted. Analysts project losses exceeding £100 billion across biotech, cybersecurity, and defense sectors within 5 years. In Israel, the consequences turn personal. British students are removed from exchange programs. Research labs shut down. Journalists lose access. The British embassy in Tel Aviv is effectively sidelined. A senior Israeli diplomat explains, this is not retaliation. It is what happens when trust collapses at this level. Without Israeli intelligence, Britain loses direct insight into Iranian nuclear activity, Hezbollah operations, Hamas financing, and ISIS networks. This gap cannot be filled by the US, by Europe, or by anyone else. Israel's intelligence capabilities are unique, built through decades of human and technical networks. Britain has voluntarily blinded itself in one of the most dangerous regions on Earth. Defense contractors respond immediately. Lockheed Martin reviews Britain's F-35 role. Rafael cancels billion-pound contracts. Israeli cybersecurity firms withdraw from UK infrastructure projects. The message is unmistakable. Britain is no longer trusted with security cooperation. Israeli systems protect British bases in Cyprus. Israeli naval intelligence monitors shipping through the Strait of Hormuz. Mossad operations across Europe have saved British lives for decades. Remove that shield and Britain is exposed in ways the public has yet to grasp. The British Jewish community feels the impact first. Synagogues and schools scramble to replace security support. Immigration inquiries to Israel and the U.S. surge. The chief rabbi calls an emergency meeting, warning the community has been abandoned. Across Europe, allies watch nervously. If Britain yielded under pressure with Israel, would it do the same elsewhere? Baltic states ask the same question. NATO leadership quietly doubts Britain's commitments. This isolation is not strategic, it is self-inflicted. Can Starmer undo the damage? Can trust be restored after such a public expulsion? Or has Britain entered a prolonged period of weakness, cut off from intelligence, influence, and credibility? The UK government insists communication channels remain open. Israeli officials say they do not. Between those claims lies a stark reality, a Britain smaller, weaker, and more isolated than at any time in recent memory. And the most dangerous part? This crisis is still unfolding. Tomorrow's intelligence briefings may reveal threats Britain can no longer detect. In this new reality, ignorance isn't just expensive, it's deadly. This story is developing by the hour. Stay informed. Comment below, can Starmer repair the damage, or is Britain's credibility already beyond recovery?